Queen Alyssa Velaryon, the mother of kings and keeper of the realm. Among the many women who shaped the early Targaryen dynasty, few were as courageous, complex, or quietly formidable as Alyssa Velaryon. Born of the sea and wed to fire, she bridged the noble house of Velaryon and the royal line of Targaryen at a time when the dragons ruled the skies and blood bound both peace and war. Alyssa was not merely a queen or a consort, she was a mother to monarchs, a regent of realms, and a survivor of tyranny. Her life, spanning love, loss, and leadership, reflects the resilience required to endure in the shadow of the Iron Throne. Alyssa was born in 7 AC to Lord Athen Velaryon, master of ships under Aegon the Conqueror, and Lady Alara Massey. Alyssa Velaryon embodied the classic beauty of the Velaryons, silver gold hair and eyes of amethyst hue. Her appearance alone proclaimed her noble descent from the ancient dragon lords, yet it was her charm, wit, and grace that defined her. Septim Barth later wrote that, above all else, Alyssa desired to be loved, admired, and praised, a sentiment that, while gentle, reveals her deep humanity in a dynasty often ruled by cruelty and ambition. Raised on Driftmark, she grew up amidst the salt winds of the Narrow Sea and the glittering splendor of the royal fleet her family commanded. In 22 AC, she was wed to her cousin, Prince Aenys Targaryen, who was the heir to the Iron Throne following Aegon the Conqueror. The match was political, uniting the two most powerful Valyrian houses remaining in Westeros, Targaryen and Velaryon. Yet it grew into a marriage of mutual affection. Alyssa bore Aenys 6 children, Rhaena, Aegon, Viserys, Jaehaerys, Alysanne, and Vala, who died in infancy. Her wit and warmth balanced Aenys' uncertain nature, and together they brought a measure of humanity to a dynasty often consumed by dragonfire. When her husband became king in 37 AC, Alyssa was crowned queen beside him, radiant, posed, and beloved by the court. Tragedy, though, struck swiftly. In 42 AC, King Aenys died unexpectedly on Dragonstone after years of unrest among the faith and the realm. His death left Alyssa vulnerable to the ambitions of her husband's stepmother, Visenya Targaryen, and her monstrous son, Maegor the Cruel, who seized the Iron Throne by force. Fearing for her children, Alyssa fled Dragonstone mere hours after Aenys' funeral, taking her youngest, Viserys, Jaehaerys, and Alysanne, and proclaiming her son Aegon as the true king. For his defiance, she became Maegor's sworn enemy. Her courage, however, cost her dearly. Her eldest son Viserys was captured and brutally tortured to death by Queen Tyanna of the Tower, an act meant to break Alyssa's spirit. Yet she did not yield. Instead, she stole the Valyrian steel sword Dark Sister from Visenya's chambers and escaped across the Narrow Sea with her surviving children, evading Maegor's wrath until his death in 48 AC. It was Alyssa who stood beside Jaehaerys when he was proclaimed king, the mother who had risked everything so that her children might one day reclaim the throne. As queen regent of her young son, King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, Alyssa proved as capable as she was compassionate. She worked to heal a realm scarred by Maegor's tyranny, but her grief remained, particularly over Viserys' death. When Jaehaerys mercifully pardoned Maegor's former supporters, Alyssa did not protest, but the king allowed her one exception: the execution of the jailers and torturers who had killed her son. Their severed heads were sent to Alyssa in retribution. Alyssa's regency was marked by balance. She respected her son's growing authority while still guiding him with experience and restraint. She accompanied Jaehaerys and his sister wife Alysanne to Oldtown, where the faith and the crown were finally reconciled after years of strife. The peace forged there would define the long and prosperous reign that followed. In later years, Alyssa found companionship once more in Lord Rhaegar Baratheon, the powerful hand of the king who had championed Jaehaerys' claim to the throne. Their union in 49 AC, known as the Golden Wedding, was of splendor and political unity, yet it was also a marriage of strong wills. Though Rhaegar adored Alyssa at first, their relationship soured over politics, particularly when Jaehaerys secretly married his sister Alysanne against the wishes of the small council. Alyssa's wisdom and restraint clashed with Rhaegar's pride and temper. When he suggested disinheriting Jaehaerys to crown another, Alyssa stripped him of his office as hand, proving she was still as decisive and formidable as ever. Despite their estrangement, the two reconciled later at Jaehaerys' command. In 52 AC, Alyssa gave birth to a son, Borman Baratheon, future Lord of Storm's End. Though the birth was successful, it weakened her greatly, a shadow of what would follow. In 54 AC, Alyssa became pregnant once more. The labor came too soon. When King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne arrived at Storm's End, they found their mother dying, her husband too drunk and too afraid to face her suffering. Velaryon. The maester there offered to save the child by cutting her open. Whether Alyssa consented or not, the procedure began, and as she bled out, she gave birth to a daughter, Jocelyn Baratheon. Thus ended the life of Alyssa Velaryon, a woman who outlived kings, defied tyrants, and shaped the course of a destiny. Her courage had delivered Jaehaerys the throne, her wisdom had guided his early reign, and her blood continued through the Baratheons of Storm's End and the Targaryens of the Iron Throne alike. Queen Alyssa Velaryon's story is one of strength born from sorrow. She lived through rebellion, exile, and loss, yet never abandoned her duty to her family or the realm. In her, the best of House Velaryon's loyalty met the endurance of House Targaryen's fire. She was the mother of the greatest Targaryen king, the regent who restored peace, and the woman whose courage outshone the cruelty of her age. In the annals of Westeros, Alyssa Velaryon remains not merely a queen, but a symbol of survival, love, and the unyielding power of a mother's will.